Welcome to Rauta, and today's topic is festivals, metal festivals in particular, and particularly this year 2023. Now, this is a topic that might not sound very interesting at all, so in case you have better things to do, grab a beer, go outside and, enjoy midsummer. But in case you are indeed one of those festival goers and wondering what the hell are you supposed to do with this summer and all, should you go see some bands and whatnot, maybe this is a topic for you after all. Grab the beer and stay with me instead. Now, I was wondering about, festivals recently and figuring out why some festivals are being, cancelled. Some now are gonna say, yeah, it's another video about cancel culture, but it's not. It's about things in the world happening right now. Inflation, world war. Well, Ukraine and Russia having a world war is indeed certain kind of a world war, but no, really. Different things have been affecting the world for quite some time. I mean, first it was pandemic, canceling a lot of events, including a lot of festivals for obvious reasons. For 2 years or so, the world was pretty much shut down with festivals and all that stuff, and we were like twiddling our thumbs at home, wondering what the hell to do. There are no bands to be seen, no friends to be seen at festivals, and all that stuff. Now, when the world opened, obviously, a lot of festivals started quickly, figuring out how to get back to so-called normal. Now, obviously, maybe bigger than ever before, we're having a lot of different festivals. But that combined with the inflation, being a little less worth for your money, and still a lot of events happening and all these world crises, it's a little bit different world than we're used to, post-pandemic especially. But I mean, even before the things that were taking place before pandemia, it's a different kind of world. Now, that means that some festivals, some events, some gigs and all that stuff, some tours were already getting cancelled after the pandemics. I mean, obviously all the bands started and wanted to go on tour and, see their fans and, get their releases out, albums, and doing tours around those albums and all that stuff. And people are like, yay, we have been waiting for you at least a few years. And then some bands started canceling their tours because suddenly the costs of logistics and whatnot had gone up. So suddenly the situation, how much money you have to be ready to be spent in order to, figure out these tours and selling those festival tickets, that math wasn't going to last. And that got me thinking, okay, so first of all, we got way too many festivals, way too many tours for people to handle. I mean, you have basically less money to be spent, and yet there are more festivals to be had. So what's going on in the world? And then I decided, I need some kind of a background for this video, so it's not just my talking head. And I ended up Googling this kind of a rather interesting site, List and Map of Metal Festivals in the World 2023. Now, if you got to scroll down this list, it's pretty interesting and really giving a lot of ideas what to do with your money and free time, assuming you have those. And this looks pretty sweet. If you take a look, first of all, you will see this map. Lots of festivals happening. Then you get to see, scrolling down the list, and it gets even more interesting. Okay, January, only a few festivals, but it's January. February, a little bit more. March, yeah. You're heading the right direction. April, come on, let's keep scrolling. May, what the hell? June, another set of hell. What the hell is going on? July, August, and so forth. Now, I'm not gonna scroll to the end of the year because, well, I will. But it doesn't really help you that much because what it will show is that towards the end of the year, obviously there are a little bit less festivals. But the main attraction from June to August, it's crazy. There is almost 120 festivals listed here just for June only. Almost as much for July, which would be the main month in Finland, but I mean different countries, different expectations and different realities, and almost another 100 for August. When you combine these together, that means roughly some 300 plus festivals for these 3 months alone. Now, if you count the other important months to this whole game, like May, which is of course already gone, and then again also September, you are bound to have more than 400 festivals in total. Now, obviously, some of these might have multiple takes, and of course, some might not be real, true metal festivals, at least according to your own opinion, which is totally fine. But even if you would remove like half the things here happening, like 50%, you would still have hundreds. Imagine going to hundreds of different places. Okay, obviously it's not even possible time-wise. Okay, let's, for example, we're now living the 20th of June. So let's scale back to that, go back to that date. And you will see, okay, there are quite a few midsummer festivals taking place. For example, for Finland, traditional festival for Finnish metalheads during for midsummer is obviously Numirok Metal Festival. A festival I've been since 1996, but haven't been there for like past 10 years or so. But I mean, it's one of those lovable environments where you get just, you know, beer drinking people at their camping areas. You have a lake and you have some woods and obviously band stages and all that stuff. Now it takes a few days. Well, at the same time is happening a couple of more festivals, actually closer to 10 different festivals. That's just one weekend alone. Now, assuming you will survive on that and you have endless amount of money, you just have to skip a few ones to you make there. Another weekend is coming right after that. I mean, there is more than 10. I was just taking a look at certain dates here, but I mean, if you really take all the dates for this given festival weekend, it's like 20 or so. But let's assume you will survive. Then you would have another festival weekend before the end of month. So from 28th of June, you would have something like 20 different festivals for that weekend alone. Even some same countries might have like multiple festivals, like Germany here, Höhenfest, Under the Black Sun, you have Burning Pants Festival, Rock for Tolerance, Castle Rock, Borna Open Air, things like that. In Finland, we don't have that much, but I mean, we have like quite a few. For example, like I said, not all of these are exactly metal festival. You might see, for example, Provinci Rock here, which is more like a rock pop mainstream music festival. But despite all of these, like even if you remove some of these which are cancelled or some that are not like pure metal festivals, it's just too much to handle. Now, why I was brought to this topic was a friend of mine who mentioned me that one of the festivals this person was going to attend is being cancelled. Not once again because of any kind of a cancel culture thing, but more about like, you know, ticket sales. It's not happening. And when you put these different things into the same bowl and start figuring out why are these festivals getting cancelled, you pretty much figure out there's not enough money for people to do all that stuff. First of all, even if the ticket prices alone were like, say, 20% more than what they used to be, yeah, you would like, okay, that means like I have to cancel at least one festival even if I could make those 4 other ones. You know how percentage work. Also, you have to consider that it means also hotel prices, traveling, I mean including flights and all that stuff, not to mention food, beverages, whatever. So everything is more expensive, not just the ticket prices. So when you multiply that with how many times you want for a festival, you get the math. And when you think about realities in life, be it, you know, just normal things like rent or food or whatever, yeah, there you have it. Now, when bands are trying to compete, much like festivals, like what is going to exist and what happens where and then it gets more complicated. I think it's rather safe to say that this is just too much. Not in the sense of like metal fan perspective. I mean, of course you want to have as many festivals as possible because there are more metal bands nowadays than ever. Obviously you want to give all the bands a chance to, you know, go touring or whatever. I mean, if they play live in the first place. But the thing here is, will there be enough people? Especially when these festivals are like competing with one another. Who can have this and that band and or whatever. Sometimes it's easy, like, you know, for example, there are big bands, say Iron Maiden, Metallica, or Judas Priest, or whatever. You can pretty much say, like, okay, I'm not interested in those mainstream bands. I'd rather go for the underground names. And then it becomes like rather easy choice. Would you go for the mainstream names? Would you go for underground names? But when even the underground festivals, I mean, whether we're talking about, say, black metal or death metal or whatever, when they are, overlapping with different dates and places, and well, it's get problematic getting all the things done, because even if you had the audience, like the interest to go different places, like said, money is where it, just kind of divides people into ones and zeros. That is, you either go or go not. There's not like, I'm vouching for you, like, how the saying, like, prayers, thoughts and prayers kind of a thing. How the hell do those things help people, like, hey, thoughts and prayers, I'm mentally there watching your show, but you're not. You're not buying the merchandise, you're not buying the tickets, etc. And that's when things get cancelled. Now, obviously, the point of this video is not to blame anybody for not doing that. But there are lots of people who's like, I want to see that and that band, until they never will. First of all, sometimes the bands just, cease to exist. Maybe they get old, maybe the key member of the band dies, or maybe they're just like, okay, we're done with it, we just cannot handle it. With the realities of things. Like, for example, Anthrax was supposed to tour Finland or Europe last year, and I was like, hey, stoked. I hadn't seen Anthrax for a few years, and they were coming to my home city, and I was like, yeah, I want to see them. And then they just announced logistics prices have gone up too much. They're unable to do the whole tour, so the whole tour got cancelled. Not just one country, not just one show, but the whole tour. And when you really think about it, it's kind of a shame. Like, if you're like, okay, I'm gonna wait for the next show. Maybe there's some day in my city, and that day might never come. I guess I'm trying to point out that whenever you have the possibility, it's more like the seize the day kind of a thing. Go for the bands you want to see, because there might not be another year, another event, or whatever. I've done the same mistake once or twice in my life. Like, I'm gonna see them at the next festival, at next year or whatever, and that might never come. Usually that's not the case, but I mean, being there, done that. So it's a pretty interesting to see how things will go. First, we don't have shows at all during the pandemics. Then we have way too many, and some festivals are getting cancelled or taking a year break or whatever, a leap year, if you will. And it's gonna be something that's not gonna last forever. So I guess, much like with the different streaming services, we're in this competition where the weak ones will fall. The ones that don't have anything special with the festival lineups, the ones that are maybe in places that are hard to come by, or maybe the ticket prices are crazy. For example, and now don't get me wrong, I don't blame any certain country, but I was reading economic news today, and there was this news about how Finland is, for example, the 7th most expensive country in the world, in the Europe, sorry. And that might not sound so bad, because it's only number 7, like, it's not that bad. But in alcoholics consumption, number 3. When you go by that kind of a festival thing, you're like, okay, I need to plan my trips for the festivals a bit more. Now think about Iceland or Ireland or Norway, which are the most expensive countries in EU, European Union, or Europe in general. That gets more complicated. So if you could go to a festival which, say, would cost like, I don't know, 200 euros for a ticket, and then you would spend a couple of hundreds euros more for food or beverages and whatever, you're like, okay, 400 or 500, doable. Try to do that in Norway, and you're like, okay, that was like more like 1,000 euros. My point here is, this is a hard thing. In certain countries you could do 2 festivals versus one country where you could barely do 1. So it will be interesting to see how these different festivals are able to survive, how they're able to compete against one another. As much as it's fun to be idealistic person and say, yeah, metal is not about competition. Festivals are not about competition. It's underground. It's mentality and all that stuff. Yeah. Go try to do that without money. So in the end, it's always put your money where your mouth is. Or it's just endless blabbering, blah, 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 and nothing will be solved, nothing will be different and all that stuff. No, there is no moral of the story other than go to see the bands when you have the chance. The list is out there, and I will actually link this festival, link to the video here, description, in case you're wondering still what to do with your festivals, with your summer, maybe not this year, but the next, or maybe for coming months. But think about it, and let's see what will happen next year, and towards the end of the year, and which festivals Rauta is able to participate, in, because definitely won't be most of these ones. All right, enough ranting here. Take care, have a good summer and all that stuff. Be safe and be metal. Bye-bye.